People wonder what's going on, so we're recording. And I think we're all in now. There we go. So I'm going to share my screen. And this is what I want to show you. So I can see Sandra, it's a little box down there. Sandra, can you see a PDF there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We are trying to send this out about a week before so that you're closing, so that you guys can review it. But it's still kind of confusing. And it's part of the reason it's confusing I'll get to in the second half, and part of it is it's new and you need to see what you're doing with it. So at the top, what we're looking for you guys to review is the sales price and the closing date. Those are the two most important things because everything else is figured off of here. And if those are wrong, please let us know so we can fix it way before closing, and that means payday gets to be happy. The next thing you're going to see is the check that we expect to get from the title company. Let me see if I can highlight a few things. And that is called gross commission income, or GCI. In other languages in real estate, GCI becomes very prominent. But you'll also find from there that everything else that comes off the top of the GCI before you and I get to split your check. So sometimes that can be a little confusing. We have a franchise fee of 6%. This happened to be a Cartus deal. And then we have a space where we can put other things in, but generally we don't put other things in because in other real estate worlds, this all goes out to the title company and they cut everybody's checks. We don't do that in Kansas. It's against the law. So it's broken down a little bit differently or less familiar to us. So we take off the top the franchise fee, and then you'll see this agent share for side. What this means, some of you will work with another agent and say, let's say that Tulio takes 50% and Joel takes the other 50%. Well, that means what's going to show up here is the 50% of this that Tulio would be getting if he were the agent. Or let's say you have a mentor. Let's use Ray and Lance, for example. Let's say Lance gets 20% of this overall check and Ray gets the other 20%. Well, this is where it would reflect your portion of this check so that we can get down here. Does that make sense to people? Okay, I see a head. Thank you. Let me see if there's any questions. Show conversation. Okay, so that means that if this were Tulio's check, and I'm going to use Tulio as my example from here on out, this is the portion that we would be talking about in company about where does your cap come from, how much does Greg get, and so on. So the next thing we see is this person is on an 80% to 16,000 split. And that means 80% of this is what that Tulio would be getting. And we subtract off the $68 that we always do, and that leaves $16.91 as the total check that would go to Mr. Tulio. Now, the rest of this has to do with caps and how we get to the year to date. So, Tulio, here would be your check. Congratulations, you're done. Go home. Now, you're very welcome. The next two portion gets a little confusing, mostly because we started on the 1st of January as our accounting date. And most of your your anniversaries is where your caps are, and your anniversary does not happen on the calendar date. So we had to make an adjustment right here where I'm putting this in as to what you'd had for accumulation or portions given to your split before we switched to this system 1 January. So Mr. Tulio, you had $6,858, and I'm just using Tulio as an example, this isn't his paycheck, that you had earned prior to our 1 July since your last anniversary date. We add to that what we've kept from you as our part of the split since January, and that gives us a total and how much we're keeping from this transaction. And if you add all three of those numbers together, you come up with $14,087.19. And then the level to your next cap is this 16,000. So if you take this number and subtract it from this number, you're $1,900 away from reaching your cap. Now, next year, after you hit your anniversary, this adjustment will go away. So this next accumulation, so this number right here, current accumulation, will show up on your next check right here at the top. And it will become much less confusing. Okay? Are we following all that? Sorta? Okay.
So the $1,900 that you said that he was away from hitting cap, that's $1,900 of the amount of commissions that go to the broker, not just
Correct.
total commissions, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So when you see here that the broker kept $439, 20% subtracted here, that portion then is added into this number, this 439, not the 1691 or any of the other stuff. It's the portion the broker keeps. And then down at the bottom, you get not anniversary, but calendar year. And the reason this is calendar year is because your taxes are all due on calendar years, not anniversaries. So this person's year to date since January 1st, $32,160 is what they took home in their pocket. And their total volume sold so far is 1.4 mil. Okay? Now, I told you guys this was going to be a fairly short meeting, but this whole section right here is going to get a lot simpler to understand once you hit your anniversary date and this previous adjustment goes away. And I think it'll be easier to understand. The only reasons that's there is because we converted systems this year. Okay? Questions? No questions. I'm getting head shaking.
Is there any way to add any other lines to that?
No, there are. I sort of understood you, but no, my understanding is this is a system-wide report. And if they are going to make any changes, it would be a request that we would have to submit, and they'd have to decide that was a good idea for everybody that's using this system.
Gotcha. I was just wondering, because when I was looking at mine, the information you gave today has cleared up a lot of it. But when I was looking at it, and then it was where it showed, how much left to hit my 100%, I was really excited. And then that's when I realized, oh, that's probably how much I still have to pay the broker first. But what would be cool if there was a way to do it, to say you need, 900,000 more in sales to give you the amount that goes to the broker to put you at 100%. So like it would help give people more of a target on, hey,
Sure.
I'm chipping away, because it's a lot easier for us to calculate based on.
Yeah. Well, to
how
give you a real rough number, 2 million is the number of what you need in production to hit your cap. It goes up and down a little bit from there, but roughly 2 million. Part of the reason it goes up and down is, do you always get 3%? Do you get 6%? Do you get 4%? And so on. So coming up with a figure like that is very hard. You sell your own listing, it would throw that way off. So I just say as a rough number, you get around 2 million, you ought to be looking for you to hit cap.
I'm fine with that.
Beg pardon?
I'm fine with that. I can celebrate that kind of win.
Okay. Cheryl Hubert, is there a line of year-to-date GCI? I never thought of that because most people go off anniversaries. But I suppose I could request them to add that someplace. It's a good question. Sharon, where can we find these sheets? Well, here's what we started doing about, first off, we can print them out for you anytime and we email them to you. Second, we started about a week prior to closing, Kim is going in, looking over the transaction and sending it to you. And third, you get it at closing. Other than that, I think you need to come in and get them from us just direct. This is produced in a part of the program you don't have access to. Cheryl, the adjustments and the accumulation is a little tough, but let me go over this one more time. The previous adjustment, when we started this 1 January, and let's say Tulio's anniversary is May 31st. We went into the old system and found out how much money we as a brokerage had collected from Tulio, the portion that we kept. And we added that up from May 31st to December 31st, and that number came out to the $6,858.59. And then every time Tulio has a closing, there's a difference between the $1,691 and how much we keep. And our accumulation for this transaction is $439. That's what we kept out of this transaction. So we take that $439, we add it to these two numbers, because this is what Tulio sold since we went on the new system. This was the old number, and this is what we're keeping now, and that all equals this. Once he hits his anniversary, he just would have hit it May 31st, then these two numbers will start over. So his previous accumulation will go back to 0. And then we will add this number to 0, and this would have been 439, and so on, and we keep accumulating. I think it'll be much easier for you to understand it once you hit that. Sharon, so we can't log in to find them? No, there are other reports you can log in and look at, but not these particularly. Kim says she sends them out every morning for the closing for the following week. For example, today she's going to send out Tuesday of next week's statement today. Any other time you want one, just contact her and she will send you one. Cheryl says she get it. Yay, thank you, Cheryl. Let me see if I can close this. Yeah. Can you guys still see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Sharon was asking about other reports, and I'm going to be, is that Sharon Taylor or Sharon McCoy? Looks like Sharon McCoy. Well, it could be either one. I'm just going to type in a Sharon and choose one. Sharon McCoy, I hope you don't mind. So now I am Sharon McCoy. If you look under, it's Sharon Taylor, sorry. If you look under reports in your Better KS, one of the things you'll see is your Broker 360. And if you click on Broker 360, that's going to give you some information like your listing. Well, and this is one thing that I hate, but that says since then to present. I want to go back so that I get all of last year in here. So just click that back. This gives you your total sales volume, your listing volume, your closed volume, and gives you a way to look at your gross commission income and your net commission income. And I don't want to leave that up there too long because that's somebody else's report, but I think you get the idea. So go under reports and look under Broker 360. Suzanne, you're lucky I'm recording this. Ha 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 ha. Even though Lance didn't remind me, I remembered. Okay, do we have any other questions? Cheryl says she loves getting these a week prior. Cheryl, thank Sandra because we screwed up her paycheck often, and then thank Kim for coming up with a solution to take care of her screwed up paychecks. And honestly, there's some quirks in the system that make a lot of sense when you understand why they're there. It's a protection on a lot of things, but it's also nice that we're figuring out how to make it work and get them to you a week early and let you see what's still in there and letting us update and those kind of things. It means that come pay, once you've got all the drama of payday, you don't have to worry about drama of paycheck. You get your check and you're gone. So I think it's working out better for everybody. Any more questions? Erica Head, is the anniversary date the first date or last date of qualification towards the 100%? I believe it's the first date. I could go in and look at a few people, but it gets very personal. I have to go in every anniversary date and update them for the following year. So your anniversary date is the first date of your accumulation for the coming year. So if your anniversary date is June 15th, June 14th, 2020 or 19 is the date that you would end, and June 15, 2020 would be the first date for the following anniversary. Okay. More questions? Please tell me that I helped a little bit today because I'm still confused. Okay, Tulio half smiled. I'll take that. All right. Any other questions right now about anything, or should we just end this? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Looking forward to Thursday. We got a new marketing center that's being unleashed tonight at 8 o'clock. Can't wait to get my hair. Why is the sky blue? Because there's oxygen in the atmosphere that bounces the light off of the ocean sideways and reflects blue. And Kim says no. Well, it sounded good. I don't know if it's true or not. Actually, guys don't know if you know this. Kim and her husband volunteer at the observatory. She does the books for them, and her husband's quite an astronomer. So they probably have the real answer to why the sky is blue. But oh, let me tease the party for this summer. Has anyone ever heard of Everly Farms? Has anyone ever been out there? They have zip lines, and they have games, and they have grown-up tricycles so that you can have tricycle races, and they've got things you can explore in the woods and such. So I'm going out there today to finalize our picnic date. So while we have you on the phone and you can vote, I'm thinking of not renting the swimming pool and letting us do everything but swim. Overall, I think it's a little safer. And, oh, the short answers, gases and particles in Earth's atmosphere scatter things. Okay. So I'm thinking of not doing the swimming pool for the picnic. And unless anybody says overwhelmingly, no, you got to swim, we're just going to have us a nice picnic and play area out there for you and your families, and maybe a grandchild or two might join me. So I don't know about you guys, but I'll be bringing them. Kim said, would the kids like the pool? I'm sure they would. I'm a little worried about the liability of kids in round pools. That's my only thought, but I think they have a lifeguard. So if anybody wants a pool, they need to let me know now, in the next week or so. Anyway, that's where we're planning. Hope we'll probably do barbecue and some other stuff out there. So thank you. And yes, Erica, Dixie normally has lots of pool parties. I've been to several of them. All right, guys, thank you very much. We will see you Thursday, and I am going to stop the recording.
Thank you, Ray.